Welcome to Sketching Up, another episode of Sketching Up. We are here to talk about the Mario movie sequel. The full trailer has dropped recently, and, I'm a Mario fanatic. Matt deals with it. But no, we want to, give our opinions on it, talk about what we can see upcoming. I mean, the amount of Odyssey drops that were in there, we can go into that in a minute.
Of course,
yeah. 1,000 Odyssey drops put in there, so we'll get into that. Matt, I told you when we were coming in that I had a hot take for you that I wanted to start with.
Yeah, and I'm ready for
I've
this.
been holding on to this for a while, too. And I was thinking, maybe we'll do a whole episode of hot takes. And then I was like, nah.
You got to get this one out. You got to get this one out.
I do. Before I do that, though, last Mad Props that was on, Rob Paulsen.
Yes. Awesome dude.
Yakko Warner, Carl Weezer. Only announcing that here really fits the audience of this podcast as well. Last Mad Props I did had him on it, and the next one has Phil LaMarr, Hermes Comrade, a bunch of other. He did a ton of characters as well. 2 great voice actors on Mad Props. You can search Mad Props Pod on YouTube and find that if you'd like, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to Netflix. We said no when they came to us. We said no.
I think they said no.
Yeah.
They never reached out. Okay. So I was thinking about this. I was thinking about old sports games. And I was thinking about the Backyard Sports franchise because I do see a lot of it. They partnered with Wiffle Ball. One of my buddies, Jordan Robles, is like one of the top Wiffle Ball player in the world. He's like one of the best out there. Okay. And they partnered with Major League Wiffle Ball or whatever the YouTube thing is, to make like custom gear and like the players or all that and everything. Okay. So I was thinking of Backyard Sports. If Pablo Sanchez, which we all know Pablo Sanchez, right?
Yeah. He was the dime. You needed him on your team.
If that player doesn't exist, Backyard Sports dies after the first game.
Yes.
There's no nostalgia. People like to be like, oh, I remember the gameplay. If he does not exist, that whole game, that whole series, that whole franchise doesn't get past one game. It's a blip on the radar. It's one of those games that you're watching a YouTube video 25 years later, and it's like one of the joke games they throw out there. Like, I played this. And it's not a game anyone cares about.
Yeah.
That being said, the hot take is those games were not as good as we like to think. I haven't played it in a while.
All right. See, I have been playing it.
Yes.
On my computer. So I love that
you
brought
took
this up.
Pablo Sanchez. This is why I knew you'd have opinion on it.
Yeah.
This is why I was like, this is good.
Yeah.
So that take is not that the games are not good. The take is they're not what we remember them to be or that we put on top of them. The reason we're so nostalgic on it is because of one person, one player, one character.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean,
we got on that.
I'm playing the first Backyard Baseball, the original, right off the cusp. That was. I think that's
what it started with.
It was Backyard Baseball, and then it went to football.
Football, yeah.
And then I think after that was basketball, and then it went to hockey. Because hockey was the first one they put actual professional players in. That was their test. Let's put professional players in that because hockey is like such a even at that time probably even smaller following. And if you have
100%,
if you have like big name people in there, the kids could look it up and be like, oh, I need him on my team, stuff like that. And then you could get different players for the next basketball and all of that.
Yeah.
So what I was saying in the first Backyard Baseball, of course, Pablo Sanchez was my first pick. Everyone else is a scrub. The kid has a bat that's taller than him. He has the coolest walk-up song. It's like it's cool and racist at the same time. Okay. But he can pitch, he can bat, and he can outfield. Like that's what you need in that game. In that first game, that's what you needed. You needed someone who could run and go catch a ball midair. Okay. And he could steal bases. He could do all of that. I don't think if they took Pablo Sanchez out of the equation, who are they going to market it with? Kenny Kawaguchi, the wheelchair kid? Not a
Well,
chance.
So get rid of Pablo Sanchez, and you're playing it right now. Could you play that game consistently without that player existing in the game? Whether it's on your team or you're going against them to make it more challenging. Like it's
Yeah,
just
no, it like you would have to
he
have
has
him
to
in the
be
game.
there.
He has to be in the game. Like
He has to
the
be there.
funniest part about that game is there is a girl in the game that's like all dressed up in like baseball attire, and like her
Okay.
intro is when you click on her for like picking or like her card, you say she's like, my dad works in Major League Baseball and I've been growing up baseball my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
She has worse stats than Pablo Sanchez, who probably has never even really heard about baseball. Someone just put a bat in his hand and was like,
Yeah.
go get him, kid.
Again, pretty racist.
Yeah, super racist, but he's the best player. Okay. So it's, you see, you can't market that game without him. Like, I totally agree. Like, and there are other great characters in that game. Like, my team will never not have a Pete Wheeler. He's the hick from the South, and he acts really dumb. He's a huge Southern state.
I'm catching a theme on this game.
Oh my God. It is such a stereotype.
What is this, Punch Out? Like
pretty much. Yeah. It's so like, if you just go and you're like, okay, you have Kenny Kawaguchi. All right. He's a wheelchair kid who is a really good catcher and infielder and like can play the bases really well, but he is in a wheelchair, so his speed is not really quick. Okay. Why would you do that to the kid though? Like, why would you do that to him? Like, and when you do it, like, I think I had him steal a base once, and you have the two kid announcers who are like the background, like play-by-play announcers in the game. Yeah. If you have Kenny run and he doesn't make the base, they're like, "Oh, Kenny really tried on that one, guys." And you're like, "Oh my God." And I will say that the rest of the gang in that first iteration of Backyard Baseball is very evenly matched. Like, if you go and you look and like all their speed, like their outfielding,
there's someone
their
that's
batting.
better at pitching but not as good at batting.
Yeah,
not good at batting but not as good in the field. Like
Pablo fucking Sanchez is good at everything.
Everything. That's where I get it from. It's like,
yeah,
if he's not in the game, it's not marketable, and it's just not as fun compared to the other games the other baseball games you could play. I mean, this comes out at the same time as like Mario Baseball game. I just was playing.
Oh, I saw that. I saw on your Instagram.
Yes, I was playing that again, and there is no like number one player like that. Like, there's guys, like Bowser hits a home run every time he comes up, kind of thing. Yeah. But there's no like good at every single stat. But it's still like a marketable game. But obviously, they can market it with Mario. You don't have to market it with a completely new player or anything like that. But if all the players were the same, you would just play a different one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was my take of, was the game as good as we remember if you just took Pablo Sanchez out of it completely?
No,
and I guess part of it was, would that game even exist if he was not around? But he is.
I will say, if they do make a new Backyard Baseball, and like the theme of it is all kids, like, you're just doing this. If they want to stay true to what they're doing to Pablo in this next game is going to be 32, and he's going to be playing Backyard Baseball. Okay, he's going to be in.
No
that
wonder
league.
He's the best one.
Yeah, no wonder. He was already 18 in the first one. Okay, so
yeah.
That's how you have to do it
against 8-year-olds at 30.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Mario, the Mario movie trailer came out.
I like this one. I
like it as well. We finally saw Yoshi, which we were all expecting. So it wasn't really much of a shock when even though they tried to make it like, oh my God, Yoshi's here, like, really wasn't, because we were all expecting Yoshi to show up 100%, anyway.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Odyssey. I'll let you go in a second, and I'll let you kick it off. But there's a lot of Odyssey stuff, which is funny for something they're calling Galaxy. There was Yoshi, and Toad seems to hate Yoshi. So what are your opinions on the first look at the Mario movie.
I liked it. It seemed a little more grounded. I'm glad that we didn't see Bowser in this one, or even Bowser Jr. We kind of just got to see the Mario brothers, doing their thing. I did like. I don't know where. I'm guessing they were in Odyssey because again, I didn't play much Odyssey. But
I can if there's something you're wondering, you tell me.
Well,
which
the Sugar
part or
Skull
what
Mexicans that they meet in the beginning.
No, that's Odyssey. So that in Odyssey, one of the first places you go is
Cabo?
This desert land. Basically, you go to this desert land, and those are the people that are there, and it's frozen, and you have to defeat the big boss of that world to get the ice out of there. That's the world. Those are the people, though.
Okay. So I like that we're seeing that. The question I had was, it looks like they came to fix a pipe. Mario says it. So that pyramid in the sky crashed down.
Yes.
You could see.
And that happens in Odyssey.
That happens in Odyssey? Okay. Because I was like, oh, all right, now I understand. Like, that's not just like a map itself. That's like that it fell from the sky.
Yes.
But my thing is they find the
pipe in there.
Yeah, they find the pipe in there, and they find Yoshi in there. But we saw Yoshi at the end of the first one, and he was in a completely different pipe in the real world. That's my little gripe.
I would say that the pipe from the real world led to that pipe in that world.
Okay, well, that's just stupid.
That would be well. Pipes lead other places. What do you mean? Pipes go from one place to the other. That's the whole point of them.
It leads to a floating pyramid in the sky. All right.
Well, they're not connected. Like they're never connected. They always lead somewhere else. The only time you really get to, there are some games where you like, obviously like the original Mario, you go into the pipe, you go into the underworld, right? But like I was just replaying Mario and Luigi Superstar Sega, one of my favorite games of all time. And
is it Saga or Sega?
Probably Saga, and I said Sega. It doesn't matter. I'm not bright.
I'm not trying to do it. No, right. I was like, it could be called that. Like games are called whatever they want to be called. Okay.
Nah, yeah, but I'm not smart, and I just think I see. I also have dyslexia, so when I see something, I just run with it.
Okay.
I used to think it was Kirby in the Crystal Shards forever.
Oh,
wait, is it Shards or I don't remember what it actually is now. Whatever. I thought it was something else forever because I read it wrong as a kid because I have dyslexia, and I just never got corrected until I was an adult.
It's okay. I was in college when I figured out that I always read the Disney, like it looks like a backwards G. I always wondered why they have a G in front of Disney. Yeah, I always
you're watching Disney.
Yeah, I'm like, why did they do that? It looks so stupid. I'm just reading Disney.
It's hard to explain to people when I tell them I have dyslexia. They're like, "Oh, so like you read like this or that?" I'm like, "No, like sometimes I'll be reading, and my brain thinks this word is this, so I see this word."
Yeah.
And it's not that word.
Yeah, it's not whatsoever.
It doesn't make sense to some people. Anyway, we're not going to get in. This isn't that Santa Satan movie with Jack Black here.
Oh, yeah.
This is a Mario Brothers movie.
Mario Brothers movie. God, we're not talking
Anyway, I played Mario and Luigi, and not only do you go into different worlds when you go through the pipe, but they actually show you actually have to go up and down the pipe, which is something you never see.
Yeah.
Like you're actually in the physical pipe itself. Like you fall to the bottom.
Okay.
Or you have to climb back to the top. Literally, they could take that out and it wouldn't change a damn thing in the entire game.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting.
It's just a little add-on.
It's nice to know that when they go into a pipe, they fall 45 stories to the ground, then bop their head, just get up and go.
Yeah.
Completely concussed, probably.
Oh, it's a hardcore CTE for the brothers.
If not dead.
Yeah.
Very severely concussed. No wonder they see weird monsters.
No wonder
they walk around with concussions all the time.
This could be just a bad fever dream for them. They could be held up in a hospital right now for all we know.
There's gotta be like creepypastas about it somewhere. Like there's got
100%.
Creepypasta still a thing?
I don't think so. I haven't seen it.
I mean, it probably is still a thing, but like, is it still a thing? You know what I mean? Like, it probably still exists.
Yeah,
but, like,
but I don't think I've seen
people
anything.
actually do stuff. Anyway, you can look up creepypastas later if you're listening. But for now, we're gonna keep going to the Mario movie here. So anyway, yeah, so that was an Odyssey. Those people are from Odyssey. Of course, they're taking a bunch of stuff from Odyssey. It was just as successful as a game. We also saw Birdo and Lakitu in this.
Okay, yeah.
Well, Birdo is fighting with Peach.
Yep.
So we're seeing a lot of different characters and a lot of different people that are going to go all over the place. We still haven't fully, like, the one thing about seeing this was in that first snippet we get, it's Bowser Jr. That's
Right.
like the big bad. I don't think we saw anything with him in this.
No, I said this was nice because there was no Bowser Jr. or Bowser,
or Bowser.
Yeah. It was more, I want to say loose term, but like more world building. Honestly, it was more grounded in the world that they're going to be bouncing around in, instead of like, let's have another ridiculous Bowser clip, you know?
Yeah.
More about their travels.
And make it about like, oh, the comedy of Bowser. Like, we understand it. We saw the first movie.
Yeah.
Like, we get it.
You get it. He's still small and everything. Yeah, the T-Rex. So is that Odyssey too? That you go to a
Odyssey
dinosaur
as
world?
well. And I believe in there, and I was the reason I'm looking off to the side. The viewers probably don't see it, but Matt, you see it. I'm trying to look for the thing itself to kind of go through and find the parts that I'm thinking of, because I have the notes written down, but I don't have the parts. I believe we see Baby Mario and Baby
Yes,
Luigi.
We do. Yeah, Toad's holding them.
Yes,
Toad's holding Baby Luigi and Baby Mario. So they have to get turned into babies sometime.
So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
So we finally see Yoshi. We're getting hints. We got a lot of hints of Odyssey. Baby Mario and Baby Luigi with Yoshi is big because that's where their origin is. From the Yoshi's Island and Yoshi's Story, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2, whatever version you played, they're all the same game. That's what their origin is from. So is that from like an origin story of Yoshi that you're seeing that?
Yeah.
Or is that they get turned into babies? Is that like different Mario and Luigi? I don't really know where to go with that one. Obviously, it's just a trailer, so we won't know until
Well,
April
they went back to New York
1st.
And they both found out that they're fathers. And that's when they went run back.
It could be because he comes from there.
Yeah.
He comes from the real world.
Yeah, he comes from the real world. So he comes back.
It's very possible that they were just fathers, that he grabbed them and he's bringing them over or something like that. Although we don't see them until later, so that means Yoshi lost them somewhere in transition.
Yeah. I did like seeing Luigi in the frog suit, and he does the big jump.
The frog suits, and now that's Super Mario World.
Yep.
That we're getting a piece of. I'm getting a lot of. Oh, here we go. All right. So, not ignoring anything. I'm just pulling this up so I'm going to run through. Yeah, that's Odyssey in the beginning. That is, there's the babies. We get the fire suit. They put on the fire suit. We see it like change and everything.
They're riding dirt bikes like they do in Mario Kart.
Yeah, they're riding dirt bikes. We see the fire, the flame.
From Bowser's castle.
Bowser's castle.
That's pretty cool.
All that stuff. Excuse me. We get to see a good amount of stuff. This looks like from Mario 3D World, maybe. I can't really see it, but very very bright, like just like Bowser's final world in Mario 3D World. It just seems like they're putting a lot of different games into one and like kind of throwing them all at the one movie. We all know there's going to be a third, right? Like, it's not, we shouldn't be shocked that there's going to be a third.
They're going to drain this pig for as much as they can, for sure. But yeah, it's funny because in the first trailer, I would consider that a teaser trailer, and then this is kind of a first full-length trailer.
Yep.
We really don't know what this story is. Like, we don't have like a full synopsis of what we've seen so far. Maybe it's written down somewhere, but we don't know what the main plot of this story is going to be about and what they're trying to do around all these new different worlds we're going to see, how they're getting all these new power-ups that they're seeing. It, to me, when they took out the flaming flower, I was like, well, we're gonna have to see them find one of those, right? Because those were hard to find in the game. Like, they can't just go pick them off a tree. If they do,
common.
I'm going to be pissed. Okay, because if they go pick them from a field and they just have,
well, they were in a field, weren't they?
In the first one.
In the first one, or in the trailers, in one of the trailers, or something like that. I
can't remember.
Peach in the flower field.
So they were there.
They were just there, yeah.
Now, it's still my question is, and I think we talked about it when the first trailer came out, is the power-up star still going to be a hit? Is the star itself going to be a hit? Is that going to be part of the main plot again? Because I feel like the power star, you get that like in all of them. It's super powerful. In at least Mario 64, you have to find them at all the different worlds. They just have such an essence for Mario, like they're just such a deep thing.
In the first movie, the star was more of like, the star was more of the superstar, where you got the invincibility, right? Yeah. That's what they were aiming more for. Not like in Mario 64, where you're finding the stars to clear levels. Yeah. It was like, this is the invincibility star. That's why you want it. I don't really know. We've seen my biggest opinion that came out of it. There's two. One, interested to see it now. Like, more interested to see it. Obviously, I'm going to see it either way. More interested to see it now.
Yeah.
Because I like what they added so far. And then on the flip side, I'm just worried they're doing too much, and they're going to rush through a lot of different worlds. And then, or they're going to do interesting worlds they could have built. They're going to
worried about what they did to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We got a lot of madness, and we didn't get a lot of multiverse.
They didn't get a lot of multiverse. They just jumped place to place to place, and you didn't really get to explore that stuff. Now, another thing is that a planet that they landed on with the from Odyssey, the desert place? Is that a place they landed on, or is that going to be the desert that we saw in the map from the first one?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Desert land.
Yeah,
but the desert land I was thinking is going to be something more from like the old games, where you have the desert land with the spikies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's more of what I thought it was going to be. But are they going to go a different direction, or is that going to be when they go off into space, they land on this planet?
It felt like
there's more questions, which is fine.
Yeah, which is great too, which is nice. But my thing about that is, and I could be completely wrong, but I think like my thought process on that is that, you have the start of this desert planet. They're just riding on the dirt bikes or whatever, and it looks like they're having fun and everything. It looks like they're more, I guess, familiar with this area, where
that's what I think too.
Like, where if they wouldn't be like doing tricks and stuff on their dirt bikes if they were in a place that they did not understand or
you wouldn't think.
Yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at. Now, I could be completely wrong. They could have taken a tube there, dropped 60 to 70 feet, landed there, and then there were two dirt bikes just sitting on the side, and they just took them, that were conveniently green and red. And
don't put it past them.
They can't put it past them, and then they just started to race off. Like, we don't know where we're going, but we'll find it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll enjoy the ride though. That's got to be toward the beginning of the movie, right?
Yeah, it feels like that's like
the middle.
That's like that has to be like a jump off point of, oh, we found this dinosaur thing, and what you said could be true. Like, Yoshi could find them familiar, and they don't understand why he finds them. So they don't know why, because they were children.
Right,
they don't remember anything when they were children. So they may have not realized, oh, as babies, we came here before the events of the first movie. We had no idea we did
with
that.
Yoshi and everything.
Yeah, and like Toad was with them, but maybe something happened with Toad that he doesn't remember having them. I mean,
or it was a different Toad, or whatever.
Yeah, I will like to see that. I think Toad is going to get jealous that.
Well, clearly,
clearly in there, and
that was one of the biggest things. Like, they made 3 jokes about how much Toad doesn't like Yoshi. There's literally 3 separate jokes.
Yeah,
3 full. We only heard like 5 full lines the entire time, and 3 of them were Toad complaining about Yoshi.
Yeah,
which is just funny because it's like not part of the games at all.
No,
like there's actually nothing
everybody.
between the two of them.
Toad loves
there's nothing between the two of them.
Yeah, Toad loves everybody. Toad,
they don't even interact.
Yeah, you only interact with them if you're playing kart, or can you play as Yoshi?
One of the sports games. One of
the sports games, or party. Can you play as
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I guess you could call that whatever. One of the party sports games is the only time they interact. They don't interact in the game whatsoever unless you're riding into the castle on Yoshi. But Peach is like, Toad's like, yeah, Peach isn't here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But you just sounded like how they made him sound in 64. He just goes, ah! Every time you go see him, ah!
One of the biggest voice transformations of all time is Toad.
Yeah.
He's got higher and higher and higher and higher.
Did you see they made a joke? Keegan was with who's the Mila Kunis, and they were presenting something at the Golden Globes. They were presenting an award, and he started reading from the teleprompter in his Toad voice. And Mila Kunis like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I thought we were doing our voices from our things. Like, I'm doing Toad's voice. Aren't you doing Meg?" And she's like, "No, this is my Meg voice," and it's completely the same, her voice, because she doesn't change her voice for Meg.
Yeah, she doesn't change her voice.
And he's like, "Oh, I see it there. I see it there." It was a funny joke because like he changes his voice a lot for the Toad.
I know. I actually thought he changed his voice, and then they pitched it as well a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely.
Which they might, even if they did it at the Golden Globes, it's pre-planned when they do that.
Yeah,
so you could absolutely have had it pitched.
Crank his mic up a little bit.
Or it was just a recording that he like mimics into the thing or something like that. But I did not watch the Golden Globes. 1, didn't know they were on. 2, probably wouldn't have watched it anyway.
I forgot that they were coming because 1, I didn't see really any of the movies that were in there. I've seen some of the shows. I just haven't seen any of the movies. Once I moved from Montclair, because I'm not near the Claridge anymore, I haven't been able to go see the movies. I was part of their film like club and stuff, and we used to go see movies for $5. Haven't been able to get to see any of the movies. And some of the movies I have been wanting to see, but I just didn't. But my girlfriend is a huge Nikki Glaser fan, and she was the host, and she did a really good job. She did a really good job.
She's going on tour.
Yeah. We're hoping to see her in I think she's coming to Philly, so we're hoping to get tickets for that. But it was
Amy Poehler podcast of the year.
Yeah. Oh my God. So many people were going off about that because it's very true. It's like, oh, they just wanted one of theirs to win it and not someone else.
Well, that not to get too far off track, but I mean, I talked with Mary about this when she first made a podcast. The only reason she did a podcast is because they gave her the bag. And the only reason they gave her the bag to do it is because they knew it was becoming a Golden Globe category.
Yep.
And they knew she would win because she's fantastic at it, obviously.
Yeah. No, she's great. She's freaking awesome. Anything Amy Poehler does, like I'm not mad at like Amy Poehler for doing a podcast because she's hilarious and I've listened to it and it's funny.
Yeah, it's good.
And it's really good. Yeah. It's interesting. And like she's in my mind one of the great comedic geniuses of our time. Okay.
That's what I mean. Like the reason, she's going to win because she probably shouldn't be doing a podcast in the first place because she could do whatever the hell she wants.
Yeah. She could be writing TV shows. She could be directing movies. She could do whatever she wanted. But she just wants to, they threw, like you said, threw her the bag.
Threw her bag.
And she was like, oh, I just have to go to a studio once a week.
And talk with people I already know.
Yeah. Talk with some of my closest friends about just everything and like
everything I want,
times on set together and like SNL things that she's never talked about before. Like, because she's, I think out of all of the old school SNL class that she really hasn't like talked about her experience in detail.
Yeah, she hasn't got many things.
She doesn't. So she hasn't really explained like her side of what went on at SNL, not meaning it's bad or good, but just like her opinions and her views, her different jokes that she pitched that may have not gone through. Like we never got any of that stuff. So it's fun to listen to her. And it's like, she has, I think it's by the time the Emmys happened, she had like 46 episodes. And it's like, obviously there's not a lot of episodes, but all those episodes are good. Like there's not a bad episode.
Yeah, the only thing that shocked me when she won is that it was a Ringer podcast, which I did not. I just figured just straight up Spotify like
Yeah.
gave her the bag for it, but it's actually a part of the Ringer network, which actually threw me off a little bit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I kind of like had a brain fart about Ringer because my girlfriend asked me, and she was like, "What's Ringer?" And I was like, "Oh, well, it's another
Well,
podcast."
because it's like sports. It's like Bill Simmons and
Yeah,
fantasy football and all that other stuff, but they also have like that movie one. They have a couple movie ones like
yeah.
where they rewatch, and then there's another one where they just kind of talk about movies or something. I don't really know. I listen to Simmons sometimes. I like their fantasy football show a lot. That's probably the only one I really truly listen to.
I've haven't really listened to a lot of the Ringer network of things, so I'll check
Me
that out.
neither. I just like the one podcast.
Yeah.
And
The
that's
only
it.
the only time because I only watched it on YouTube, the Amy Poehler ones.
Yeah, well, nobody's listening on Spotify. I'm sure, even though they threw the bag at her, they're all watching it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But
you have to with those certain ones because you
that's
just have these characters on there. Like
yeah,
they're funny. Like
that's why the bag was thrown at her, though.
yeah,
They knew it was becoming an award, and they were like, she'll win it because she's just great at what she does. And everything.
yeah.
Congratulations to her.
Yeah, but they did something different where they had in I don't know how they had like like sports have in-game announcers, like they had
Yeah.
in Emmy announcers, like people talking between like when they were going to another category.
Was the Emmys she won, or was it a Golden Globe? I thought it was a Golden Globe.
Golden Globe. Sorry, I meant
Yeah.
Golden Globe. But this is what they did.
I have no idea. I didn't watch either.
Yeah, I didn't watch either. So, but they did this like there was a guy from Variety and someone else, and they were like the play-by-play people.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell you, if the Golden Globes does anything, they do anything, they need to take that away. They were so goddamn annoying. Like it wasn't like they were trying way too whoever wrote what they need to say, they were trying way too hard. Like the thing about announcers for sports is funny because they're not scripted. So it's like they could say whatever the hell they want and we get some gold out of that. And that's what we want to watch. I want to hear a Tony Romo like person talk about this and like get something completely wrong or just sound really stupid. These guys were just trying to land jokes that weren't funny. It was like distracting at times. And like they would just ask stupid questions. And it was the guy who was the Variety guy was the one who like made a comment about, oh, why is it because Haley Steinfeld was there for Sinners, which I did see, and great movie. Highly suggest to everybody who hasn't seen it, you have to see it. It's a great movie.
That's me.
Yeah, it has the most Oscar nominations in history now. It's so good. But she was there, and that was the same night the Bills were playing. And they made a comment, oh, her husband, Josh Allen, couldn't be here tonight. And he goes, you would think he would be here for his wife. I guess no one told him that he was actually working at his job, the job that he works.
Yeah, he really only does it once a week. It's tough to skip.
Yeah. It was so dumb. And you're like, what are you talking about, dude? They're both working people. Like, she could have skipped the Golden Globes and went to his game and watched the game.
That's true.
Like
that's
it's
true. She
so
doesn't
dumb.
need to be there.
So that's if the Golden Globes, if anybody from Golden Globes, even an intern that listens to us, because I know we don't have many.
All the people are listening.
All the people, take that away. Don't ever have that back, and don't ever have that guy back. That guy is a joke.
Bona fide moron.
Yes, bona fide.
Anyway.
Moron.
So I think that it's great that we don't know a lot about the Mario movie. It
Yes.
does worry me that they've gone through so much and everything. I'm still on the camp that they skipped too much because now we're calling it Galaxy. We have a bunch of stuff from Odyssey. Like it's just I feel like we're skipping way too far ahead. Like what is the next movie?
I know, like, and
Sunshine.
How
they go on vacation?
How you think? Like I feel like. If they add like snippets of 64 in there, Mario 64, you're going to be like, what's going on here?
Yeah, but they kind of kind of hinted at 64 a lot in the first one, right? Like not a ton, but like I don't know. I don't know. Where they're jumping all over the place. And the next one should have been Mario World. They should have explained. They should have explored the map they were already on. And now, like what is Yoshi being there? Actually, something just clicked completely in my head.
Let's hear it. But
it has nothing to do with what we were just talking about. Because I was gonna say, what does Yoshi being there have to do with any of this plot? But we did see Yoshi, and we saw Baby Mario and Baby Luigi, and Baby Bowser is the big bad in Yoshi's Island, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes, that's what you said.
I know I am, because it's like one of my favorite games ever. I've played it 1,000. I still play it to this day a lot. Well, Baby Bowser / Bowser Jr., who becomes Bowser Jr. later on, they rebrand him, right?
Oh, he gets a rebrand.
Jr.
Good for him.
That's the main villain in this.
Right.
The reason I said something clicked, we're adding another goddamn game into all these other games. So we got Mario World, we got Mario Galaxy, we got Mario Odyssey, and we got Yoshi's Island all in one foul swoop. I hope this is a 6-hour movie, because this is a lot of things they're pushing.
It could be an Avenger Endgame style movie.
It shouldn't be. Not yet, at least. The Avengers Endgame movie is Super Smash Brothers at some point.
Like, it has to be. At
some point. That's what it is. Yeah. We're getting the Link movie, although that's live action.
No, if I'm thinking about it now, you can't compare. It's Super Smash would be Avengers Secret Wars.
No, they all had to come together in Endgame.
Yeah, but they're all like not as many as, like, if you think of Super Smash, you're getting characters that are not.
Yeah, you do first Super Smash. There's only like 12 characters.
Yeah, but they're not.
There might have been 8.
Yeah, but like they're not all Nintendo games.
Yeah, the first Super Smash, yes, they were. There was only like 8 of them. There was Mario, there was Link, there was Kirby. It was like Pikachu. That was it. In the first one for 64, I'm talking about.
Yeah, didn't they have Star Fox and Falcon?
Yeah, well, those were on NES. Or they were on whatever. They were on whatever the partnering one was. Like they were all owned by Nintendo in some way. And then they started to branch out. The reason actually Sonic even went over is because they saw sales declining. And why not throw it on Nintendo? It made more sense to take an IP like that on Nintendo than it does on anything else.
Yeah.
It was on Sega. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. Like the Avengers Endgame would just be those main people that you saw in the first Super Smash. Mm-hmm. Captain Falcon, Star Fox, Mario. I mean, Luigi would probably be in it, but he wasn't in that first. Luigi doesn't come until Melee, which I almost bought this weekend, by the way.
I know you went to that gaming store,
the game shop. I bought 64. Long story short, I was going to buy both, but I didn't.
How much were they running?
Good job by me. I think that 64 was only $40.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
They had a bunch of copies. Funny enough. So, great place. Hey, bro, is the name of it.
Oh, fun.
They had a ton of copies of 64, and I said I want to buy 64. I actually wanted to get 64 in Smash. Smash was $80 unboxed. Kind of threw me off. I didn't want to do an unboxed because
fair. You never know.
The point. Then I was going to do 64 and 1,000 Year Door.
Oh,
and that all together was about $1.20.
I don't think I've ever played 1,000 Years Door.
Oh, it's the best Paper Mario game in my opinion. But I didn't get 1,000 Year Door. I just got 64. Whatever.
Were the prices reasonable there?
Yeah. So when I go to these places, I check them all as I go, and like if it's close, I'll usually do it. If it's below, I'll definitely do it. If it's above, it depends. Like if it's like $10 more, it's better to get it here than online.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So I went to get 64. They had a ton of copies of them because they're all open. It's just people trading them in. They're buying them up from all these places. The video game, we talked about this on Sketching Up before. The video game community, the resale community is not my favorite.
Yeah, no.
Some of the people in it are fine, but the whole buying it for 70% of the price to resell it for 120% of the price just frustrates the living hell out of me.
Yeah, for sure.
64 is very reasonably priced. $40 is very, very reasonably priced.
That is.
Anyway, he has a bunch of them. He's like, which one do you want? And I said, I want that one, which was the one in the 64 at the time that people can play as they walked in and out. And the reason I wanted that specific one is because I know it works.
Yeah.
They're working.
It's working.
In the 64 right now.
Yep.
I know that one works. That's the one I want. So that's the one I got.
Good. Then you have to look, if you go there, and let me know how much they are selling Duck Dodgers.
Duck Dodgers for which one?
64.
For 64? I got you.
Because
that one might not be bad priced, honestly.
That one I've been seeing just ridiculous prices for it.
Oh, maybe then I'm wrong.
I don't like because it's limited. It's rare. It's like
as we both go to our computer and leave dead air.
Just leave dead air. Yeah. Let me see. I'm doing a quick Google. All right, like Unbox is 38.
I see that as well.
But like some of them are stupidly priced. Like there's one for $30,000.
Oh yeah. Why is this so crazy?
Because I think it's so rare.
No, it's sealed.
Oh, it's sealed.
It's completely sealed. Yeah. Like never open sealed. So there's two types of sealed, by the way. They're sealed as in never before opened. So when they bought it in 1997, they did not crack that plastic. That's like the rarest thing you can find because who the hell did that? Losers did that.
Yeah. Who thought at that time, I'm like, I'm going to make a killing. I'm going to make $30,000.
Listen, I will say this right here. There are definitely people that thought that way, or there would be no unopened original Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
There would be zero.
True.
And there's thousands of them.
Yeah.
Thousands of them out there. Anyway, so that's the first one. Then there's a sealed reseal, which is when they put the box back together, they put plastic around it, they reseal it. So it's like a reseal. And that's still expensive, but not as bad. And then there's unsealed, which is exactly what it sounds like. So anyway, those are the different types of things. I will look. I will ask. I'm going to go back there. I'm probably going to get the 1,000-year door. They had it very reasonably priced, and I think I could talk down just a little bit because I'm not buying it to resell it. I'm buying it because I want to get it.
Yeah, you want to enjoy it. That's why I want to buy Duck Dodgers. I just want to play it to enjoy it.
Yeah. There was one thing that threw me off a little bit, and I understand because this is how it like goes. So we're there. There's me and my buddy Will. We're there, and there's a 3DS XL that looks like a Super NES. Okay.
Oh, we were talking about that. They had.
I own it.
Yeah,
I own it. I have it. I would grab it. I don't. It's in one of these drawers. You can't see it on camera if you're watching. If you're listening, you can't see anything. But if you're watching, you can't see. I'm redoing my office, so there's just stuff everywhere right now. So I had it, and I've been thinking of selling it. Not sure yet, but I've been thinking of selling it. And I say, like, how much would you do for it? And he says he would do probably 300 in-store credit. Okay? 300 in-store credit.
Okay.
With that being said, how much do you think he was selling his for? In cash.
In cash. 300 store credit. Was he selling it for like 500?
$600.
Holy shit. Is it boxed?
He wants me to take. No, it's the same thing I have. It's unboxed. It's out in the open. So like he said that, and I was like, I don't know if I would do that, but like you're selling it for. I could see the price you're selling it for.
Yeah.
Now if he said I'll do 450, I'll do 500, I'd be like, all right, I understand you need to do it for a little less if you're selling it. Like I get that part.
Yeah.
Right. But you're talking about 50% discount. When it comes to this stuff, it's like you're trying to get it at a deal. Yeah. Usually you try to get it 85% from videos I watched is like a snag.
Okay.
If you can get someone to do for 85% of the original value or the value they have. So, you know, if they're selling for 100, but they give it to you for 85, that's a snag. That's the time to do it because a 15% discount is not horrid when you resell it. Right.
Right.
Like if I get it for 85 and I sell it for 100 again, like people aren't going to look at you funny. But he would make a $300 profit, and not even that. He would do store credit, so he's not even giving money away, really.
Yeah.
Right? Like Yeah.
Yeah,
So that one threw me
that's a
off a
little.
little bit.
That's a little. How the
But
kids say it. That's
on the
sus.
that's sus. On the flip side, though, some of the games were pretty reasonably priced, but I was very careful, like when I got that 64 game, to look at it and make sure it's like not a modded one or an emulated one or
Yeah.
something like that. Because 64 is very easy to copy and fake.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Especially at
I've heard a lot
$40,
about
which
that.
isn't a bad price for 64.
Yeah.
But the prices there are not like the place at Hey Bro. Prices are not bad, but the trade-in value might be a little suspicious.
Yeah,
And
that's GameStop
it's
stuff.
because it's games, but that's the thing. GameStop's just was way ahead of the game. They used to give us a nickel for those games.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is literally like 5%.
Yeah.
Like, but that's just how it's like trading cards. It's like comic books. It's like any of them. That's what people do, right? Like they're looking for the little old lady
now,
who's cleaning out her attic.
Now he's selling that NES type Game Boy.
It's the same exact one. It's a SNES skinned Nintendo 3D new Nintendo 3DS XL.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
So I don't think you were, if you weren't looking at other consoles, other gaming consoles. Like, did you see prices for those, and were those?
No, those were a little more reasonable. Like I saw there was a Switch, and it was about the same as buying it new. Like he had a regular Switch. He had a couple of the higher priced ones were like the Pokemon skin ones, which they do go for. I watched this one guy. His name is Chase. What I don't know what his YouTube video. Chasing the right price. Or
no
something.
Free ads.
It's like a pun on.
No free ads.
Listen, this is the type of guy that I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like, I watch it to see the value, but I don't like what he does.
Yeah,
so it's not a free ad.
Yeah.
Anyway, like that, I think we talked about this. I would love to have him on Mad Props just to talk to him about that whole thing.
Yeah. So tell me how it feels to be a scumbag.
It's funny because like some places, yeah, but there's other times in the video he gives it for like overvalued because like the guy, this is the thing, a lot of the stuff this guy gets, he gets at discount not because he goes to conventions and talks people down.
Right.
It's because people have watched his videos for years and they want to give him that discount because they just enjoy like the entertainment he's given him.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to be like, yeah, that's scummy. Like at the end of the day, is it great? Like maybe you should give them the value, but if they're willing to give it at 50% price, like who's going to say no to that if your whole business is selling these things?
Exactly. Yeah.
So like there was the Mountain Dew, Xbox 360 or a regular Xbox or whatever he got one time, and the guy like just gave it to him because he did so many deals with him, and he does a ton of money in deals. He'll do like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 in deals with people. Like he'll buy somebody's whole thing, kind of stuff. So like that kind of stuff is a little different in my eyes. Like it's almost like buying wholesale.
Right.
Like if I'm gonna buy $100,000 worth of a product and they give me a 50% discount, you kind of expect it almost because you're giving them $100,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
They made it for a nickel.
Yeah.
Like, so it makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
So that he's not as bad, but when he does do going to the anyway. That's where I get a lot of these values from is this guy. And this is how I learned a lot of this stuff because I see what he does. And it interests me to see the pricing on a lot of this stuff.
Right.
Like, so that's why I know like some of the skin stuff that they're selling there, it's about the price other people sell it for. Like it's about right. Like there's the Animal Crossing one was like $350, which is I think what it is normally if you were to buy it, but you can't find it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like they stopped selling them. Maybe it was $450, whatever. It's sold originally for $350. So if it's $450, it's $100 more is what he's selling it for because you can't buy it.
And that makes sense. You can't buy it. You can't buy it anywhere.
So that was the only thing that threw me off. Like I wouldn't even mention these people if I didn't actually like enjoy going there.
Like the area,
owner was amazing. Had like a half-hour conversation with him. You know, great dude. Like that's all good. It was just that one thing. I'm like, I know he's doing this because this is a rare console, and someone just walked in and said, "Yeah, I have one in basically mint condition."
Yeah,
because I barely even used it. I played Mario 3D Land on it. I don't even think I finished the game, and that's it. And I haven't done anything on it since.
Yeah,
so.
No, that's fair. I mean, it's such a insane market for video games. I feel like it's more insane than it's a little more insane when it comes to that in my eyes than like Pokemon cards. Pokemon cards is insane as it is because
Yeah, I
there's
think
just so
that's the
many.
worst. That's the worst
It's just the
community.
worst. But like with games, I understand, they were expensive when they first came out, but then like things like you going in there and having this console and him just giving you store credit is just
Well,
like,
he would
okay,
have given me cash, but it wouldn't have been $300.
yeah,
Probably would have done 250 in cash, 300 in store
yeah,
credit. It's
but
like
it's
you
not
have it
worth
on your
that.
shelf for $600.
Yeah, it's not worth that. It's not worth that online. It's not worth that in your store. So
Yeah.
it's like you're trying just to get it, I guess. And like maybe it's because he only has one and he's trying to sell the one that he has and it just hasn't moved. That, in my opinion, you
Well, he
drop the
did say he's
price,
like, that's been collecting dust for months. And it's like, well,
lower the
underselling
price.
me doesn't help that one. Yeah, exactly. Like underselling me doesn't help that one
Yeah,
sell.
lower
Like,
the price. Like
what are we talking about
if you
here?
lowered the price, it would make more sense for the valuation you gave him. But that's with everything, and it's
Yeah.
just and with like I was saying with games, it makes a little more sense because like we're looking at Duck Dodgers and stuff like that. They are so rare to get, and like you said, Pokemon cards, apparently everybody and their mothers kept an original pack just sitting collecting dust, and now it's an insane thing to do.
Well, I won't mention any names here, but I do know somebody in that community, and they bought one of the big packs.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has
We were
the
looking at
store
those.
ones. No, 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 not the ones like you get the baseball cards and it has everybody's card in it kind of thing. It was like the one that would go on the store shelf and you take out the single pack. Someone had an unwrapped one of those
Oh, wow.
and the person bought it. And he bought it at a store. And the guy said I think it was overseas or something like that, but he bought it at a store. And the guy that bought it asked, like, how did you get this? Like, where did this come from? Because he wants to like the origin of this stuff. And he said this lady, this old lady, was cleaning her attic, and it was there. It was just there in her attic, and she didn't know what to do with it. So she sold it to the store. I don't know the price she sold it for, but I know that guy boned her on that one. Yeah, she just wants to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And that's how he came across it. And he probably made 10,000 times the value. I don't know how much. I don't remember how much. I think it was like I think he sold it for like $10,000 or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
But the reason you could sell that for so much, he might even sold it for 20,000 for all I know. But you
Yeah.
can sell it for so much because if you have 50 chances to pull the Charizard, which is worth 100 grand if you get it at the right, the right printing. So not even that. Like let's say you pull up Charizard and it's worth 50, and then you pull the Venusaur that's worth 30, and then the Blastoise that's worth 40, and then the Pikachu that like you're just pulling all these things. It's going to add up in value, whatever.
I think some of the
Each
energies are
like
worth a crap ton of money too.
Depending on if they're graded or not. Yeah, the card industry, I don't really want to get too much into it because I can't stand the card industry. Like I just think
card industry.
You want to talk about scummy, man. It's dude, they were made for kids.
Yeah,
what are we doing?
Now kids can't even get them because
kids can't even get them.
Adults are running to buy them all.
Goddamn 40-year-olds stand in line at Target until whatever in the morning to go in and buy all the booster packs and then sell them online to these kids for 20 times the value.
Oh yeah,
it just frustrates.
Well, the story with your friend who bought it, who the old woman found it in her attic. Well, it was just recently last year in San Francisco. Two brothers, their mother died, and they've been putting off cleaning out the house that their mother lived in and everything.
Of course,
they went into the attic and they started going through stuff, and they pulled out a box, and it was just filled with comics. And so they just took it to a guy to just see what it is. And the guy pulls out a comic. He's like, holy shit, do you know what you have here? They found an original first edition Superman #1 Action Comics.
That shit, that happens so much more. Like maybe not as much anymore, but like just you hear stories about like the amazing the fantastic like the original Spider-Man one, which I can't think of off the top of my head right now. Like Amazing Fantasies, I think it was. Like people just pull that out because their grandfather bought it when he was young, and then they packed it away, and now that thing's worth $10,000.
Well, the Superman is the most expensive comic sold at auction. It went for I think $8 million.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
$8 million, and it was in some old woman's attic.
In a gold mine.
Just
well, I'll leave you with one more story. I know we were talking about Mario. Maybe we'll get back into it in the next episode where we could digest it a little more. When we're recording this, it just came out like yesterday when we're recording this. So it's very recent. I'll tell you how I got the 3DS. Wasn't in a scummy way. Okay.
You
sure? I bought it recently. A couple of years ago, I was back in my hometown in New York, and I went to a GameStop. Now, people are going to hear that, and they're going to be happy with this story because GameStop has screwed over a lot of people. So I go into GameStop, my local GameStop, and I see it. And I've always wanted to play Mario 3D Land. I love Mario 3D World. People that have listened to this show, it's one of my favorite Mario games. I just love the simplicity of it. I love the multiplayer aspect of it. The level design, I think, is better than a lot of Mario games. Like, they just did such a good job on that game. Is it the hardest game? No, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It spawned from 3D Land, though. So I wanted to play 3D Land. I was able to get 3D Land, I believe Sun, Pokemon's Sun, and this 3DS from GameStop for $70. 2 games and the console for $70. I mean, if you hate GameStop, this story's beautiful because now it's worth $600.
$70. That's amazing.
$70. Yeah. But I didn't buy it because first of all, the reason I bought that specific one, I was like, oh, that's a cool design.
Yeah.
Like that looks sick.
That's cool.
But now it's
not knowing you were sitting on a gold mine.
Well, it's one of those things, like, I don't really use it and I want to sell it, but like, do I just keep waiting?
Yeah.
Like, last year I almost sold it. Excuse me. Last year I almost sold it. I put it on Facebook Marketplace. That's how far I got for selling it. I was selling it at the top price I saw. It was $250. Now I go online, I see it for $400 or $500. That's the only place I've ever seen it for $600.
Yeah.
But I do also know at video game stores the price will be a little higher because you can walk out with it that day.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's the easy
you
part.
can usually return.
Yes.
You can usually return at these places. So, like,
yeah, any place that doesn't gives you a game or a console that's not boxed or anything, and then they say you can't return it, you should not shop there.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's such a red flag.
Such a red flag. 100%.
Because I've seen that on online shops and stuff. They're like, oh, if you buy it, you can't return it. It's like, okay, you're going to send me something and I don't know how it's going to work or not.
Yeah. No store should do that. Red flag on any stores. No refunds. Red flag. Make sure you go follow us, Sketching Up Podcast. You can follow us on TikTok. You follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. Also subscribe wherever you get your podcast, whether you're listening or watching. I prefer listening. I don't really listen to a lot of podcasts. I prefer listening. So go check us out on Spotify as we continue to build on that.
And Apple Music.
And Apple. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I should say Spotify, Apple, Good Pods.
Good Pods. Still killing it.
Now. Still top 11.
There we go.
Make sure you go listen to the latest Mad Props with Rob Paulsen. Awesome guest, awesome character. Matt, I don't know if you were able to get around to listening to it.
Oh, I listened to it. 100%.
Highly suggest for you to listen to it because he's a huge hockey guy.
I know.
I think when there's a day that maybe I can't come back on, I just get Rob to come on with you and you all just talk hockey for as long as you
know. I loved every second of it. I don't want to give anything away to any of the listeners, but Rob Paulsen just seems like a really cool guy. He's awesome. Really cool guy, really down to earth, and just a fun person to just have a conversation with. And then when I found out that he's a huge hockey fan, I could talk to him for hours about hockey and cartoons.
I can confirm Red Wing is in his email.
That's awesome.
It is in his email.
That's awesome. That's great.
So you can find it there. Yeah, a great Gordie Howe story
that
he had with him on the ice. But he is a big Red Wing fan. He's a big Detroit guy. He's from Detroit, loves all the Detroit teams, stuff like that. So, but awesome. Go listen to that Mad Props Pod. You can find it on YouTube or wherever you find your podcast. If you go to and you can do the same with Sketching Up. If you go to any of our social medias, go into the links, you can find the link tree, and then you can find whatever platform you listen to right there. So you don't have to go find it on the other platforms. We already laid it out for you. Just go to the link tree.
Made it
Boom.
easy.
Done.
Made it easy.
Like that. Just like
for you
that.
Guys.
Yep. And another episode coming up with Phil LaMarr. Don't miss that one because Phil LaMarr is great. I will say, I'll say it here. Probably won't say it on the other podcast. I'll say it here though. My performance in that one was not my best. Was not my best interview. Sometimes, sometimes you go out, you crush it every game, but sometimes you have an off day.
You just have an off night.
I do have an excuse. We just traveled back from Pittsburgh when I did that interview with my job. So I got home, I slept for a couple hours, and I popped on with Phil LaMarr, and I just did not hit like I usually do. Joe Brown, friend of the show, produced the episode for me, says it's good, but I didn't feel good.
Yeah.
I didn't feel good.
It's all about you.
Which sucks because Phil is awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome guy, funny as hell. He was great. Listen to it for him. And you can also listen to it and actually tell me if I was good. Like, I don't know. But that's coming out next week.
Roast him,
roast
people.
Me. Yeah, if I suck, roast me. Sure. Comments are comments, baby.
Yeah.
Engagement
numbers, baby.
Get the
it's just me
numbers.
a million times from 12 different accounts.
I'll take it. Do it. Yeah, hell yeah. Do that. Every single video. Do it. I don't care. That's a lot of engagement. I'll take it. Anyway, you can follow us there. Or you can follow us on social media. Go subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube if that's how you want to do it. And we'll see you next time. This has been Sketching Up. We'll get back to the Mario movie soon enough. We're going to digest it a little more.
We will.
Don't screw over people with video games, especially old people. See you later.
Don't do it. Peace.
See you later.